The title of this video is What Ails America and How We Remedy It. And I may veer off a little bit to talk about my own story a bit too. In terms of what ails America, you know, my original intention was to talk about how there's two vectors really coming at each other, and maybe more, but the two to begin with, that are really causing a breakdown in our basic American psychology. And one of those vectors is indeed, you know, an extreme, you could say narcissistic, fanatical, you know, but let's just call it a fanatical perspective, okay? You know, psychology of psychopathy, narcissism, but a fanaticism in American politique and in American life. And the second factor is a breakdown in our systems. You know, I'm most focused, and you'll see why, with our legal system and how it kind of not orienting towards equality, fairness, call it equity, but, you know, judiciousness at the deepest levels. And I think it also extends to our healthcare, political, economic systems, that, you know, really what is America about? You know, the kind of things we extol, are we living up to those standards, and those kind of things. So the combination, and I guess I would call it like a vulnerability in our systems, that, you know, people are really, you know, breaking down and, you know, feeling this brunt of, you know, this fanatical energy that comes from certain types of advocacy. And I'm not associating that with the left or the right. You know, I'm saying I'm just talking about fanaticism in general. And yes, it could relate to personality disorders and this kind of thing, but fanaticism is a huge cause of what's ailing America. And when I say fanatic, you know, people who cannot hear perspectives other than their own, people who don't have an interest in being satiated, you know, whose energy is in essence agitation. And those people kind of, you know, have an undue influence on our processes, be it a legal process. You know, the people, you know, who can just agitate and you know, raise the highest voices, raise the loudest voices, have an undue influence. And our systems are not foundationally, you know, built on principle right now that they can withstand this energy. So instead they break down somewhat, and they kind of give into the, you know, some of the lowest or lower, you know, lowest common denominators. And you know, you say, well, how do you know this, John? Well, I have an incredible saga journey of, you know, having these two factors come at me. You know, the first really was in some ways this kind of fanatical energy. And, you know, I'm sad to say in a way that, you know, it came from within people I knew, right? Even family, right? And, you know, it's kind of this unique thing that people who really, you know, you can be an empathic person, you know what I'm saying, kind of live within a normal psychological realm, even if you have challenges, whatever of your own. Your energy is not to go attack other people. And there are people who, and they can be high achieving people, whatever they be, who have proclivities to come after other people, whose psychology is not separate and, you know, freestanding in their own way. And they need to have an enemy, and they need to attach their psychological energy to another person. And I had people like that. And, you know, my younger brother and his wife had this type of energy directed at me. And, you know, look, excuse me, recently I sent a communication, legal communication. I said, look, I am trying to see what people have done as errors, right? In other words, you know, to have a sense of forgiveness. So when I'm talking, if I name someone, it's in a, you know, at this moment, it's in the realm of encouragement and some forgiveness while holding people accountable. You know what I'm saying? It's not like an anger or vengeance. But saying there are these, you know, people who have unresolved emotional issues, and unfortunately then translated into fanatical types of perspectives. And, you know, our systems are not, let's take our legal system, is not yet sophisticated enough to say we can really sort this out. I mean, who's telling the truth, who's not? We're just, we just see two people appear before us, and one's got a loud voice, and this one says this. I'm just going to call it he said, she said, when the reality is, I don't know everything, but I know the real solution is deeper. You've got to go below the surface of the two parties. And that's why I wrote a part of a memoir long ago. And as I was working through things, called Iceberg, what's going on below the surface. So, but the combination of this fanatical energy and systems that really don't know how to deal with, I guess what I'm saying in a way, there's 2 points, but one is that society is not yet adapted to being able to handle people with extreme energies. It's new to us. It may always have had its existence. Certainly we've seen very extreme behaviors in society, slavery in America, Nazi Germany, all kinds of crazy. So we have seen this, but in day-to-day life, we're not familiar yet with people who can sit in high positions, be it academically, legally, financially, politically, and who really have these characteristics of not really pursuing what I guess I would call the public interest, right? They're really pursuing their own insatiable personal interest. And, and most people are fooled by it, or most people think they're pursuing some type of public interest. And so the combination of that unresolved energy coming at systems which are not adapt and really have a deeper level of disarray, really aren't themselves aligned with the higher principles, right? The principles of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, equality, and really standing for those things. So if you have 90 people on one side of a debate and 10 on another, you still have to find the right position. You don't just go with a louder voice. And that's what's very hard for people, for say in a legal situation, to really, hone themselves to accuracy. I mean, I'd like to see judges paid as much as doctors if they made accurate decisions, right? Because it's an art. And a science, and you've really got to get in there and make these assessments. The other piece that contributes to this type of breakdown is our pursuit of success itself. We get it. Everybody wants success, most of it anyway, and that's okay. I applaud it. Money, fame, fortune, whatever it be, and it's got to be done with integrity, right? That's the main thing. We've got to, cleanse our system and say, rather than be fearful of those who seek success, let's applaud them. And let's also institute another standard, which is you have to help heal society too, make your success and help society. And also, just that you have to work towards this common good. And we've kind of let go of that piece. And so that everybody's can, on a lower level, mid or below the surface, grabbing, coming this way. We get it. Everybody wants success. So let's applaud that. And that's where I get into, gentle genius coaching, because what I'm teaching companies, families, and individuals is by finding your goodness, forging it into purpose, learning how to communicate it appropriately, you're going to achieve more enduring success, and certainly achieve success with integrity. So this is our work. Take a look at the, gentlegeniuscoaching.com or restoringourhumanity.com. So, as I say, the way we heal America is to adhere to principle and to recognize the path to success is through endurance. And our work, Goodness is Strength, Gentle Genius Coaching, and the change in psychology that we need. Thank you.